Good to go there, Mr. Administrator? Okay. Invocation. Pastor Tennett's here with us today. If you could come up and everybody please stand. And a reminder, everybody, make sure you speak into your mics.
Good morning. I invite you this morning to bow your heads and your hearts. Almighty God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Savior of all mankind, the one that came in grace and truth. Today I ask you, Lord God, the one that sees all, the one that knows all, that you would permeate hearts here today, that you open up hearts today, that you'd help and reveal truth. Help us to see who you are and where you stand and what you stand for. I'd ask for wisdom today, Father, to permeate these people here, and grace and mercy to prevail. Father, I'd also ask you, the one that can draw us and show us, that you would draw us even closer to you, to recognize you and who you are and what you have done. And we exalt you today, Lord Jesus, the one that gave us hope, the one that gave us faith, the one that is and always will be. And we acknowledge that and say it with great confidence. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Next, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if I could please have the clerk call roll.
And everyone is present and two are remote.
Communications and announcements. First up, I've got just, I'm going to hand it over to the clerk regarding the WCA request for resolutions to submit to the state legislature. Go ahead.
Good morning. So each year, counties have the opportunity to submit resolutions for consideration at their annual business meeting, held in conjunction with the WCA annual conference. Resolutions adopted at the annual business meeting become part of the WCA platform. The WCA 2026 annual business meeting deadline for submitting resolutions is June 22nd, 2026 at 4:30 p.m. So resolutions can be submitted by mail, fax, or email. So please let Brian, Nick, or me know if you have any resolutions for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any communications? Any board members? Announcements? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Public comment. There's three people that have signed up. Just reminders, when you come to the podium, make sure the mic is on, state your name and where you reside. First up is Ginny Strobel. If it's an agenda item, 3 minutes, non-agenda, 2 minutes.
I don't think I have 2 minutes even. Ginny Strobel, Georgetown. There's a problem in law enforcement, and it is people at a certain location are habitually harboring uncontrolled, dangerous, biting animals, endangering innocent people and animals. When individual animals are confiscated, they just get more. While it's important to address this problem, I can't see the way these changes will do it. The revision is unnecessarily vague, with 11 mays instead of shall or will, and it opens the county up to unintended consequences like claiming that bites that aren't confirmed to get back at neighbors or blaming pets for killing small animals like poultry that are actually killed by other animals. And I hope you will send this back to law enforcement to be rewritten in less than 2 pages and more specific. I'm going to leave this on.
Thank you. Next, Shirley Smith.
Hello, I'm Shirley Smith, and I live at 585 Peterson Drive. That's Story Terrace, the assisted living facility in Phillips. Recently, the UTAV organization has posted the Price County Files, a social media campaign raising concerns about a variety of issues. Unfortunately, it uses what I am assuming is AI-generated dark imagery and a spooky voice doing the narration to make disturbing accusations against board members, county employees, and business people at targets. This smear campaign approach may appeal to conspiracy-minded people, but should not convince more thoughtful citizens. I've been attending board meetings for about 20 years. It's given me a healthy respect for the members of the board and the county's employees. They are good people dedicated to serving the people of Price County.
Thank you, Shirley. Next, Anthony Sleck.
Good morning. My name's Anthony Sleck. I live at N9988 Peninsula Drive in Phillips. I just wanted to make a general comment about what's going on here. I seen a video from your law enforcement meeting. It kind of was disturbing to see everybody standing around laughing like this was a joke. You guys need to start taking your position seriously. I seriously, this is going on in the town, it's going on in the county. You guys don't want to be up here and represent everybody, just do your little special groups. Please resign, because we need somebody that's there to represent us. Y'all want to act like clowns, go join the circus. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. That concludes public comment, unless there's somebody online. *6 to unmute. Okay, nobody online. We'll move on. Next up, presentations. Employee recognition. Laura Pasco.
Good morning. We have 4 employees recognized for milestone anniversaries today. So I know some of them are in attendance. So if you are, you can stand up so they know who you are. Celebrating 1 year this month, we have Eldon Shire, who is our Veteran Services Officer. Celebrating 5 years in May, we have Amanda Kozak, who's our Public Health Program Coordinator. With 10 years in May, we have Fred Freeman, Assistant Forestry and Parks Administrator. And with 15 years this month, we have Nick Trimner, County Administrator. You're not going to stand up? Thank you very much, and thank you to these employees who have dedicated all or a portion of their careers to Price County.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you all for your hard work and dedication. Approval of the minutes from April 28th, 2026. Looking for a motion to approve. Okay, now I see it. Motion by Polachek, second by Hodek. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Folks, yes.
Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Jen, do you have a vote, please, online?
I'm not seeing where it will let me submit it.
You can't do it online. It's a
Just do
voice
it verbal,
vote.
please.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Just do it verbally. You won't be able to do it on your computer.
Okay, so yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Paula, yours is not going through. Thanks.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay.
And the minutes approval of April 28th passed by majority vote of 12 yes and 0 no.
Thank you. Next agenda item, ordinances. Ordinance to amend Price County Ordinance Section 223-44.1, habitual animal offender. This came from the Law Enforcement Committee. You have it in your packet. It's quite likely I'm not going to read it. Looking for a motion to approve. Motion by Polachek, second by Werko. Any discussion? Anything we want to do with the maize and shells? Sure.
Oh, so at the meeting for law enforcement, there was one change from the original, which changed one of the first shells or maize to shell. I did reach out to Assistant Corp Counsel who helped put this together, and what that does, it just directs the court that it's 10 years. They shall do 10 years rather than they may, which may would have allowed like 2 years or 4 years up to the 10. They had no issue with the change.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Question.
Oh,
What
Mr. Spacek.
brought this out, I guess? Like, are we having a major issue with this?
Do you want to address that, Nick, or should we have law
We
enforcement
could
come
have
up?
law enforcement address it, but I don't know who you want.
Humane
Our
officer?
humane officer here.
What did you want to know?
What brought this out, I guess?
I did
Like,
a
do we-
presentation at the law enforcement committee about a specific case where there were 5 bites from a pack of dogs living at a residence, but there was only one dog had bitten twice and the rest of them had bitten once. The current ordinance that we have tracks with a specific dog. The one that bit twice was able to be removed, and the other 3, the ordinances did not fit to be because they track with a specific dog. This would track with the residents.
Thank you.
Does that make sense to you? Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote.
Ulrich votes yes.
Thank you, Jeff. Jennifer,
also
do you vote?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And ordinance 2026-01 passed 11 yes, 1 no, 0 abstain for section 223-44.1 habitual animal offender and premises.
Okay, thank you. Next up, ordinance number 2. Ordinance to amend Price County Ordinance 223-19, definitions. This is associated with the one we just passed, came from law enforcement also. Motion by Kopish. We have a second. Second by Polachek. Any discussion? Anybody? Any of the folks online? Mr. Ulrich or Ms. Braca?
No questions here. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. We'll go ahead and vote.
Ulrich votes yes.
Thank you. Jen, do you have your
Yes.
vote, please? Thank you so
Yep.
much. And Joe, for some reason, yours didn't go through. So
Look, it's a yes. Thank you.
thank you. Ordinance 2026-02 passed 12 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain. Ordinance for section 223-19 definitions.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, resolutions. Town of Eisenstein Bridge and Culvert Aid Request. Whereas the Town of Eisenstein is requesting aid for design and installation of one new culvert at the nearest intersection of Forest Road 149 and Cedar Rapids Road and Waterway Camp C Creek. Legal description, northwest quarter, section 28, township 40 north, range 2 on the border of section 29 and 28, and so forth. Now therefore be it resolved that the Price County Board of Supervisors hereby approves the Town of Eisenstein Bridge and Culvert Aid Request. Fiscal impact, $15,500 municipal tax levy estimated. This came from executive. Motion by Spacek, second by Drobnik. Any discussion?
I do have a motion by Baradka to amend this resolution. Was that on purpose?
I think your computer system's acting up.
I do too.
Not do a motion to amend.
Thank you.
All right.
Wait, mine?
No, you're not Joe.
Oh.
Okay, again, motion by Spacek, second by Drobnik. Any further discussion? We'll go ahead and vote.
Ulrich votes yes.
Jennifer, do you have a yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you.
I voted yes also.
Thank you. Resolution 8-26 passes 12 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain for Town of Eisenstein Bridge and Culvert Aid Request.
Okay, next up, miscellaneous. District 5 special election office start date. This has been posted, but we have to officially approve what has been posted. It was posted May 7th for to fill the to fill the position in District 5 that was vacated by Mr. Hastings. The request that was posted says get a hold of me if you're interested by June 1st. I've had several requests. And then the second part of this is the posting when the election is going to be, because the person appointed will only be good in that position until December 31st, the way it was written. The election on November 3rd will define who's going to represent them for the rest of the term, and they will start January 1st. That makes sense? Any questions? Anything you want to change? There will be a primary because this is a partisan cat. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Go ahead. I'll let you.
Okay. Yeah, basically, we're just looking for board approval with a motion for an end date for the appointment and a start date for the election. So I have in your packets to the motion, the recommendation from executive committee was a motion by Spacek, second by Polachek, to recommend the Price County Board of Supervisors for the District 5 appointment end date of December 31st and the District 5 special election office start date of January 1st. And that can be amended if you choose to do so. But basically, we're just looking for a motion from you.
Motion by Drobnik, second by Polachek. Open for discussion. I'll just make the comment. We put this out there before official approval just to get the ball rolling so we could get representation for that district as soon as possible. Mr. Kopish.
Yeah, the only question is why wait till December 31st? Wouldn't you want to get that person in as soon as possible?
The appointed person will be in at in June, the first meeting, and then that person will stay in that
That's what I'm
position.
talking about. After the election, wouldn't you want to get the elected person in as soon as possible? If it's the
Oh.
same person, it makes no difference. But if it's an elected person, why wait till the end of December?
Go ahead, Nick.
During that discussion, it was talked about, so it aligns with all the other electeds at that. So say you got elected in November, you would start January, it's 3rd, but so they lined it up with the other electeds that are happening on that ballot so that that was the discussion.
Okay.
We could change it if you'd like, if you think it's,
Well,
Yes.
I've been going back and forth with Meredith on that, and the earliest date was a couple days after the verification of the election or something,
Yes.
3 days.
yeah.
Yes, 3 days after
All they need to
canvassing.
do is come in and get sworn in, right? There's no formal ceremony or anything. So again, I would do it as soon as possible, but
Mhm.
Does anybody else have any comment? Do you want to make a motion to?
But there was also discussion that there wasn't a December meeting.
That's true.
Correct.
So there was the meeting right after, 3 days after canvassing, and then there's no meeting in December. So that's why we put January 1st.
yeah, but they can still serve on committees and do whatever in that time frame. So I'll make the motion. If it goes, it goes. It doesn't. I'll make the motion to do the 3 days after, whatever that earliest date is, Meredith.
Okay.
Change that start date for the elected person.
And the end date?
So that would
Right.
be November 12th, I believe I put. Hang on, calendar.
Here's one right here. Wednesday.
November 3rd, and then 3 days. 1, 2. Yes, so that would be November 12th, would be the earliest the elected could start. So would you like that the start?
So
date?
that'll go into my motion then. that
Okay.
date, okay?
For the elected official to
For
start
the elected
office.
official to be sworn in. Yeah.
Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
And just if I can make a comment then,
Sure.
once we have open comments.
Mr. Bracker seconds it, the amendment.
Okay.
Are you ready to read it back?
I am. Okay, so I have a motion to amend the District 5 special election office start date to be November 12th, 2026, and the appointment to, oh, what's that on my screen? One moment. And the appointment date to end on November 11th, 2026.
Any further discussion? Mr. Polachek?
What is our November date for our county board meeting? Because the board has to vote on the appointment.
As of right now, it looks,
Not to interrupt, the appointment will happen the June 1. The election
Okay.
doesn't need an appointment. They would just start after they sign the paperwork with the clerk.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Bracker?
So just wanted to make a comment from the motion that we put forward here. I kind of agree with where Bob's going with this, is that I feel the sooner that the individual that was elected to the position by the electorate is representing them as soon as possible. So that's why I seconded it, and I feel that we should change that date so that the electorate are getting represented by the person they elected as soon as possible. Thank you.
Anybody else? My only comment would be I have nothing against changing it, but there's only one meeting between the November 12th start date and January 1st, and that's land use. We don't have any board meet. I mean, I understand what you're saying. There'll be a member earlier, but there's basically no meetings scheduled, and we're going to have to go and post a correction.
Yes, I double checked with WEC, the Wisconsin Election Commission, and we can amend the notices, but they are already published in the paper and they are in the board packet too. So, but it is possible.
Any further discussion? We'll go ahead and vote.
We'll have voice vote.
Okay, we'll do voice vote. All those in favor of, want to do it individually?
I can roll call vote it.
Okay.
This will work well too if the computers are acting up. So I'll just call your name for a roll call vote.
For the
And this is
amendment.
for the amendment with the office start date of November 12th and the appointment end date of November 11th. Jennifer Baratka,
I vote yes.
Joe Baratka,
I vote yes.
Michelle Drobnik,
Yes.
Brian Ernst,
No.
Doug Erickson,
No.
Paula Hodek,
No.
Robert Kopish, Larry Polachek,
Yes.
Jordan Spacek,
Yes.
Patricia Steven,
Yes.
Jeff Ulrich online,
Yes.
and Dennis Warko. One moment to tally here. And the motion to amend passes 8 yes and 4 no.
Okay,
So we'll go back to vote on the total motion again.
yes. Now we're going to go back and vote on the start dates for the filling the vacancy as amended. We already have first a motion and a second, correct?
Also a voice vote.
We're going to do this by voice vote as well.
You want me to call the
Is
roll?
there any more discussion one last time? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll call the roll. Jennifer Baratka,
Yes.
Joe Baratka,
Yes.
Michelle Drobnik,
Yes.
Brian Ernst,
Yes.
Doug Erickson,
Yes.
Paula Hodek,
Yes.
Robert Kopish, Larry Polachek,
Yes.
Jordan Spacek,
Yes.
Patricia Steven,
Yes.
Jeff Ulrich online,
Yes.
and Dennis Warko.
Yes.
And the motion to amend the start date to November 12th for the elected District 5 official passes 12 yes, 0 no.
Okay. Moving on, miscellaneous, item number 2. United Together Against Violence, proposals for discussion. I'll just make this comment before we go any further. It's on the agenda because I promised at our last county board meeting, Mr. Polachek, that I would allow this to get on the agenda for discussion if wanted or needed regarding allegations from UTAV. Since the last meeting, UTAV has submitted proposed resolutions and they are included in your packet. This agenda item is not meant to be for actual discussion of the resolutions, but to bring awareness to the board and entertain any further action via committee. If the board would like me to forward any of these to committee to start the resolution process at the committee level, I will do so. If not, no action will be taken. Would anyone like to speak to this agenda item? Only board members are allowed unless the board requests that you speak.
I'm sorry, your email?
Your microphone isn't on.
Your email said I'd have 3 minutes to speak.
That was during public comments.
That wasn't clarified in your email.
That's the board rules. I'll ask the board, do you want to hear from a representative from UTAV? Does anybody want to hear 3 minutes? I'll give you 3 minutes if the board goes along with it. Mr. Polachek?
Mr. Chairman, I think we need to follow our board rules. If you sign up for public comment, you can speak. If not, I think we should just let it fall by the wayside.
Any other comments? Ms. Stephen?
I know there's rules, but I'd give her 3 minutes just to, she's here. I'd like to know something. I'm not on Facebook. All I'm hearing is rumors about what anything is.
Mr. Kopish?
Yeah, I agree with Patty. I'd like to hear what she has to say. 3 minutes, though. A cordial
Okay.
3 minutes.
Do we need to vote on this or should I just make the decision?
You're suspending your rule, so I would make it official.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do a voice vote again.
You need a motion to suspend the rules then? I will make that motion to suspend the rules and allow the person to speak with the 3 minute.
Motion by Kopish,
I'll
The
second.
3 minute.
second by Stephen. Any further discussion?
And that does require a 2/3 vote.
I'll take roll.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, read back what the motion is, please.
Motion Kopish, second Stephen, to suspend the rules and to allow 3 minutes for the public to speak.
No further discussion? Yes, Mr. Braca.
So that motion says the public to speak. We're letting one individual speak, so I would ask that we, unless Bob and take that, but my understanding was it was this one individual given the 3 minutes. So just the language there isn't correct, I don't believe.
You okay with that, Mr. Kopish?
With it. The intent was just to have the one speaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no further discussion. Is the motion, everybody understand what the motion is? Allow 3 minutes, suspend the rules.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and vote.
Okay. Jennifer Baratka, online.
I'll vote yes.
Joe Baratka,
Yes.
Michelle Drobnik,
Yes.
Brian Ernst,
Yes.
Doug Erickson,
Yes.
Paula Hodak,
Yes.
Robert Kopish,
Yes.
Larry Polachek,
No.
Jordan Spacek,
Yes.
Patricia Steven,
Yes.
Jeff Ulrich online, please,
Yes.
and Dennis Worko. And the motion to suspend the rules and allow one individual to speak to this agenda item passes 11 yes, 1 no.
Okay. We'll go ahead and allow you to speak. State your name and your residence, please.
Hi, guys. My name is Brittany Volkman. I am the Executive Director of United Together Against Violence, and I currently live in Medford, Wisconsin. Before I begin, I formally request that my following statement be entered word for word on the public record. I came here today to discuss with you several issues that have been brought to my attention by multiple constituents in this county. And they are very serious in nature and include problems that you guys are already discussing on the board here already. So with that said, I have been told that I get 3 minutes to speak, and I changed my entire presentation to address the most important issues that I think to represent the people that are here need to be said. So with that, 40% of all firearms violence in Wisconsin happens right here in the sparsely populated rural Northwoods. Let that sink in. This is of all the small population of our great northern towns. Now contrast that with the cities, and the disparity is chilling. The 9th district alone covers 13 sprawling, demographically challenged municipalities, all with their own arbitrary problems. But when you, the citizens, try to find out what is going on and what happens, these people hit a brick wall of opened records and thorough denials. What are you hiding and why? They want to pay a records keeper. They want you to pay a records keeper for a PDF attached to an email. That is what we pay taxes for. That is what their salaries are to do. Why do we have to vote to let somebody speak on this? It is undeniable. There is something that you guys don't want us to know. And I'll tell you why. Because what open source intelligence uncovers, Larry, paints a horrific picture. You're right. If we analyze the records we do have, the list of victims is long, and it keeps growing. For example, law enforcement used to contact the domestic violence agencies directly over a phone call or text message during a high conflict situation. But they stopped. They stopped because the DV shelter put a Black Lives Matter sign up in 2020. How does that help anybody in a small town? And furthermore, what exactly do you call an honor system for violent felons with firearms when these systems are algorithmically proven to increase the rate of homicide? Now to the board, I'm asking you this. How long do you have to prove something before you enforce the law? This is the perfect example of what they call Manel liability. You knew this was a problem across 2 neighboring jurisdictions. You ignored it. You let it fester until pure ignorance became your official procedure.
Thank you, Ms. Volkman. That's 3 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Volkman. Do any board members have any comments? One last time, I'll ask, are there any comments? Okay, well, you have what she proposed in your packets. If you want to discuss further, let me know. Moving on. Appointments. Price County Health and Human Services Board, Sally Hummel, term 6/1/2026 through 5/31/2029. Price County Transportation Coordination Committee, with vacant term 5/1/25 through April 30th, 2027. Susan Stanky. Land Information Council, list as provided, which is in your packet. It's not on the agenda, but it has to do with appointments. Ask Mr. Kopish to take Mr. Halstrand's place representing at the Northwest Regional Planning Committee, along with myself. So between Mr. Kopish and myself, we will be attending those meetings, keeping our interests alive there. Go ahead, Mr. Kopish.
Technically, I'm your substitute, right?
Well, that's kind of what we agreed on, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, just so you don't forget that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Kopish will be attending the May meeting, though. You already agreed to that, correct? Okay, next on the agenda. I'll back up for a second. Those appointments are just for information. We don't need to do any approving or voting on that. Reports on file, annual report of wages 2025. Have any comments, Mr. Truner? Just on file. Is anybody else? It's in our packet. Anybody else want to discuss this at all, or? Basically, it's just for information. There's no action to be taken. Okay, we'll move on. Next up, Committee of the Whole, Board Chair Report. Updates. Since the last meeting, I've been interacting with administration regarding various employee issues. I've addressed various constituents' questions regarding carbon credits. It's not on today's agenda as there basically are no new updates. Status is still the same. Our carbon credits are on the market, but as of right now, none have been sold. You have anything you want to add, Mr. Trimmer? Buck Tussle still remains non-committal as far as a firm action plan. Their time, 60 days, is past. And per our discussion at the last executive meeting, I have instructed the administrator to look into what the result of possibly canceling our backing on the bond would be. So we're investigating. We haven't taken any action that would take committee and board approval, but we are looking into it because we're not getting any results, and we need to move as far as the emergency EMS services. Let's put it that way. Attended, I think, just about every committee meeting that's been held over the past month, and whether solicited or not, I've given my input as I deem necessary. And then lastly, I've been dealing with the UTAV situation, and well, we've talked about that enough today. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions regarding the chair's report? Hearing none, we'll go on to Committee of the Whole, number 2, Administrators Report, 2025-26 Financial Summary and Updates.
All right, so 2025, we don't have anything in front of you, but we just remind everybody that we're currently finishing up our audit, and they are doing what's called the single audit right now, where they take anything that's a grant or federal or state funding, and they randomly choose enough dollar value to, I think it's 50% of the total. So the first level is if any grant is greater than I think it's $250,000 or $300,000, that one has to be audited automatically. And then if that amount, the number of those audits don't equal, I believe it's approximately half of our total grant funding throughout the year, they pick random grants until they get to that amount. They also have to have a minimum number of grants, so sometimes it goes further over that. This year, some of the grants that got picked randomly were our UTV or ATV UTV and our snowmobile, which goes out of land conservation and forestry. Those are some of our smaller ones that are in and out, but what they do is they pull the receipts. So if we, for example, the snowmobile club did a new bridge, they would review the bid process, where the money went, how it was spent, how it was allocated. That's why it's called a single audit. They audit single programs. We are done with our general field work, which is kind of your overarching payroll, all your general fund, where you're allocating anything that you as a committee or as a full board, any resolutions, any budget items, any amendments, they go through, they review those. So they look at all our minutes. They go, hey, you as a board said you're motioning to do $20,000 extra in this. Did you do $20,000 or less in this program or in this activity? So they go through and check those type of things. We did that in April, and then they do one in December, which is our processes. And so what that is they go through and say, okay, payroll, how do you process your payroll? And they talk to each person or get a list of how the payroll process works, what our systems are. Our IT has to be part of that. And then they give you a report like to the board and say, you're missing a checks and balance for X, Y, or Z process. So for several years, we've had findings, they're called, where we didn't have enough individuals working, say, on payroll. So we only had 2 or 3 that would be entering people or the time, things like that. And we didn't have enough checks that would satisfy what they call a segregation of duties. So now we actually, I believe, will be getting rid of that. So we have enough people where we use like the Register of Deeds to check. When we put a new employee in, the Register of Deeds staff will actually look into the system and say, yep, you put them in right. So we segregated a lot of those duties. Again, we do this every year. We're currently in the process of reviewing our audit firm. We've used Baker Tilly. We believe it's been 10 years. Prior to that, we used Whipfley for 20 plus years. We did do an open RFP. We'll be interviewing new auditors at the June executive committee meeting, and then at the June board meeting, you as a board will be approving or potentially approving their recommendation to who they chose. We had 3 individuals respond to that: Kerber Rose, Clifton Larson Allen, and Baker Tilly. So our current one, and then 2 new individuals. So far, 2 of them have confirmed that they'll be at the interview process in person, and the 3rd one's working on it. So that's how our 2025 is going. Our audit is happening now. Overall, it looks like a average year, nothing extreme overspend or underspend. And when I say over, I mean highway having really bad ice or snow, or TJ having a IT server go down, or any major incident which you guys would have approved throughout the year. As for 2026, it should be, it might be in your packet. I didn't see it. I have a separate report, but either way, it's up on the screen. We're at through 33% of the year. We're at 34.37% of our expenses. That's a little bit off, so you have to be careful. So April's a 3 payroll month. So instead of 2 paychecks, we saw 3 paychecks because of where it lands, meaning you're going to jump ahead a little bit on your percentages, but then over the next 6 months until the next one, you should fall below that the percent threshold. We also have a lot of things that come out early in the year. So your insurances, I always bring up like vet service. They have their holiday coming up where they put flags on everybody's gravestones. So that's a large expense for his account. So say his total expenses for the year are $100,000, but you buy $10,000 in flags. Well, that's 10% right up front. That's what you'll see is there's a couple areas that just jump real high, but then that's because they bought their materials or their insurances early in the year. In general, what we talked about at executive, the only major area we're monitoring right now is IT costs. We just got a renewal for one of our IT products. So this is what we're seeing is going through the roof right now. For the last 5 years, we paid about $36,000 in a maintenance fee for one of our products. It went to 76 this year, starting June 1st. We couldn't predict that level of increase. We're seeing it with all of our Microsoft products, with all of our Sonic walls, everything that the cost of IT and cybersecurity has really pushed the cost of IT through the roof overnight. The positive is we're moving several of our products to what's considered cloud-based. It's not in the cloud, but it's cloud-based products. So for example, our fiscal software, we're paying a little bit more to be hosted online or in the cloud. But what that does is it puts that cybersecurity part on the third party, which they have many, many, many more resources to be able to do that. Also, it allows us to be online if there were a cyber attack for the county immediately. So because we're not hosting it, that part of our processes would not be affected. Now, we may have to go to a library and use the computer there because that would be if a computer here was directly infected. But so we pay a little bit more to be online, but you get more cybersecurity. Also, we then can eliminate servers. So we had a financial server here with multiple backups locally. And that financial server now we don't need that one. So now we just have backup servers. We do have several backups, even when it's in the cloud. We back up locally, we back up offsite, and then obviously the cloud product is backed up in multiple places. So we are really moving forward with our IT protections, but there's also a lot of cost to that, even if you're not moving to the cloud. Like I said, like emails alone, a couple of years ago, it was about $1.50 per employee per month. I think it's over $5 now per employee per month. And again, that comes down to cyber costs. Otherwise, in general fund, nothing's jumping out real far. If you look at revenues, we're at 48.56% of our collected budgeted revenues. Next page, Health and Human Services. We had our Health and Human Services meeting the other day where we discussed this. They're a little farther ahead this year than normal. And what we generally see with Health and Human Services, their billing's about 2 months behind. So them being at 36% of the year at this point, we're a little farther ahead than we'd like to be, but nothing concerning yet. They've also collected 48.75% of their revenues. That means a lot of the programs we're doing do have offsetting revenues coming in quicker than normal, which is also positive. We're seeing a big shift from children and youth cases into the behavioral health cases, so mental health. Now, some of those children and youth cases are being classified under behavioral health because they qualify for that. The positive there is the state has recently really opened up their mandated funding. So the funding levels for behavioral health, that was a big push for the last 2 years, was to make sure we're being made whole or wholer, I guess. We're still falling short from the mandated services from the state, but they are covering more and more of those costs. Other funds, we just separate these out because a lot of them fall in their own fund balance. Animal control, that one throughout the year, the biggest cost there is our partnership with Catkins. So when we have an animal that animal control is dealing with, Catkins is our partner in that. They've done an excellent job over the years, and it's worked out really well. Veteran service, it's just that's the state funding side of it. The other side is the county funding on the first page you guys saw. Library services, that's 100% in and out, and that's your yearly circulation collection outside of your municipalities that own a library. So for example, the city of Phillips has a library here. The citizens are taxed through the city on that. And what the library does is they then tell us how much circulation was from outside of the city limits. They put in a report. You guys make a 5-year plan that says they get up to 80% of those costs back. Those costs then are allocated to non-library municipalities. So in our county, we have 3 that are library municipalities, which is Park Falls, Phillips, and Ogama. They all pay for their own libraries. So they don't get double charge for somebody else's library. It would be all the other municipalities come forward and pay towards that. We've averaged about $320,000 for the last several years, and that includes the increase of 10% last 2 years ago that you guys approved. That also, any library out of county sends a bill, so we send money or collect money above our levy and send it to Ashland and Ladysmith, Medford, to their libraries based on circulation. That's at 70%. So that's the statutory minimum for that. We also receive money, or the city would receive money for, like, Ashland sends a big portion to Park Falls because a lot of the Butternut area individuals use that Park Falls library. Highway, so far, we did have a little bit of a rough spring with that ice. There was a lot of ice January, February, and then we had a couple big storms, but the big storms aren't the problem because it's usually lots of snow and we can finish it in a day, maybe 2. It's when it's an inch one day, inch the next day, inch the next day, because you're just always chasing that snowflake or the ice. So it started off a couple good weeks, but overall we're not seeing much of a fiscal issue yet there. Health insurance we'll talk about in a little bit. Cash on hand, at the end of last year we had $11.7 million. That falls within range of our GASB and the recommended number by the state to cover at least 3 months of your expenses. So they put in a generality of saying, if you're a healthy county, you'll have 90 days of cash at the end of the year for your expenses. We're right above that. So we're doing well with managing our funds. Beginning of the year, or as of today, we have $10.6 million. So we're about 11% less than last year at this time. A lot of that is we've distributed our funds. So we talked about that as an executive. For property taxes all throughout Price County, there's $34 million that's collected each year. We collect most of that and then distribute, well, not most, we collect for several municipalities, I believe it's 8, and then we distribute that. So our cash looks like it's really good, but we have to distribute to the schools, to the municipalities, to the tech colleges. They're called settlements. So we make everybody whole whether we've collected the money or not. So the schools never lose out if individual doesn't pay their taxes. The municipalities and the tech colleges, we're the ones that are holding the debt if someone doesn't pay, and then we try to collect over time. Price County sales tax, we talked quite a bit about this also at executive. February this year, we collected 107,000, which is by far our best February in in any time I've been here. Last year in February, we only collected 73,459. We're not sure what that's contributed to, if it was just quarterly payments that came through for a lot of businesses. I know we had a really good February with snow, but to go up $30,000 seems, well, $40,000, that's a pretty good jump. January this year, we did 85,000 versus 89 the prior year. So right now we're up 18.6% compared to year over year. We did talk about this where I believe we're at a plateau because we're not seeing wages go up as quickly as it has in the past, which is where people have discretionary income to be spending on taxable goods. Individuals are still spending, say you make $50,000, you're still spending $50,000. The issue is you're now not spending it on taxable goods. You're putting it towards things like gas. That's not a sales taxable good. Your mortgage payments are, if you're getting a mortgage, they're at a higher rate. That takes away from your taxable discretionary funds. So we always look at, like, if wages are going up the same cost as other things, what you're seeing is inflation may offset what you feel like you're buying, but you're still taxed the same amount. So if you're spending $1,000 on tax goods and getting 10 widgets, if inflation hits, you feel like you're spending more for less. Really, you're still spending the $1,000. You are getting less. You're only getting 8 widgets, but we're still taxing $1,000. So as far as taxes, that's where you see the plateau rather than an increase. But right now, sales tax is on a normal trajectory. Price County stumpage, last year we had about $500,000 at this point. This year we have 453,000. We just opened the new bids, or what are they, sales, I guess, of the tracks at the forestry meeting last month. We had all but 2, I believe, sell. So again, a good indicator that people are still logging. It may be a lower market than normal, but it should line up okay with what we budget overall over a 3-year period. We may see some slowing of the harvesting, but the actual like what we're seeing over the long term, the sales, we should be okay. High cost placements. This is the one area we were talking about where we're seeing a little bit less in children and youth, but when we get over to behavioral health, we'll see a higher number. One thing we did talk about at Health and Human Services about this chart and the behavioral health chart is the fact that this number is not necessarily like what you pay levy. So the program gets a certain amount from the state. So say the state gives you $1 million. What we have to put in there is the wages, the overhead, everything to run the programs. And then we pay anything out of the levy above that grant dollars, which really the biggest effect on that is high cost placements. So they don't just give you at the state go, oh, you had $1 million in high cost placements, you get $1 million. So what came up at Health and Human Services is this is really not a net effect to the levy, but it is the effect. This is the biggest causer of what you need to budget in that department where it goes up and down. So we're going to kind of work on some of these charts to actually say, or look at if there's a way to show how much levy it is rather than just the total expenses. High cost placements, we're at 98,000, which is less than last year at this time. However, actually less than the last 2 years. We know there's several cases that are we're dealing with right now that are more expensive. The last one is we are a self-funded county with health insurance. This helps us manage our increases each year. So instead of things like you hear out in the public when the renewal comes for, say, a school and you see 30%, we can manage that based on what our fund balance is, or we're really paying ourselves to manage it. So we have a reduced cost. We started this 2 years ago. We started the year at negative $281,000 in that fund. However, we are currently at positive $154,745. So we've made several changes going into 2026 that have, we believe, affected this fund. One of the first ones is we've been using Tailored Family Clinic for about a year and a half now. Employees have really taken a hold of that. And for every dollar we spend at Taylor, we're figuring we save about $3 to $5 by going somewhere like an ER or a major health provider. And what we do for that program is employees get to go there and it doesn't count towards their deductible or cost them anything. We pay a fee to Tailored to cover our health. So if you have a pink eye or something like that, instead of going after work to the emergency room, because that's your option, you can go there after work, or they're available for walk-ins. And it costs much, much less for the county. So that was the first thing we've put in. The second thing is we've put in a thing called Health 360, which helps employees shop around for major or larger procedures. And what we did there is, if you were to be needing a knee surgery, you go to Tailored, they get it all started. Then you go into this Health Check 360 and they give you 3 options. Do you want to go to a hospital X, Y, or Z? X is the high hospital, Y is the middle, and Z is the low. If you go to the lowest, we take the difference between what you could have gone to and the difference, say it's $1,000, which knee surgery would be more. Say it's $40,000. So it was $100,000 at the high one, it's $60,000 at the low one. Both doing the same knee surgeries. One might be specializing in it so they can do it more often and have a lower overhead. You go to the $60,000, we look at the difference, you save the county $40,000. We give the employee a benefit of 25% of that, up to $5,000 to cover they might have had to travel more. It can go towards their deductible, however. In the first quarter, we've had a potential savings about $60,000 because of that, by people choosing or potentially choosing that lower cost. We haven't seen a lot of those come through yet. We don't get to see which employees they have. It's a third party. They have to submit like EOBs. It's a whole process. But there's been a lot of eye-opening on what that process looks like and really what the costs are. So you're getting a knee surgery, and here they're both reputable providers, and one's $40,000 less. Where we're seeing a lot of the little things is colonoscopies, mammograms, a heart. You have a heart checkup. You need a specialized check there, CAT scans, things like that. We're saving $3,000 to $5,000 on a lot of those general things, which don't cost the employee anything anyways, because it's a preventative. Like a colonoscopy is considered a preventative. You wouldn't put anything towards your deductible. However, they could have went to a $10,000 one. Now they're going to a $4,000 one. So we're saving on the county end. Any questions about my report or health or any of those?
I don't really have a question, just a comment regarding the library. The board approved going from 70% to 80% share. 70% is mandated by state. We went to 80, but it hasn't cost the county any more in actual dollars because circulation is down. That's just a comment. And the other thing is, the deputy clerk just handed out a copy of this PowerPoint presentation. We've also had copies put back there by the coffee pot if anybody wants one. And if we run out, let myself or the clerk know and we'll make more. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Nick? Good.
All I have, unless there's questions.
Okay, next up, committee chair reports, administration, Mr. Warco.
Yes, we're working on a couple of things for the employee handbook. One is a policy on inclement weather or any other emergency that would cause us to consider closing the offices to the public. Generally, it'd be like a major snowstorm or something of that nature. The employees would still work, but it would be closed to the public because we don't want to encourage people to come to that. There was some verbiage changes in the draft that was brought forward to us. We changed a few things like adding the chair, your position to it. Can you hear me now? And that's going to be brought back to us at our next meeting. The other thing we were working on is a policy on smart glasses and other wearable recording devices. This is a policy that would be for the employees, but not the general public, and as a rule. That is going, that has to be brought to the board, right?
Yep.
When will that be done?
So those two policies are going to be reviewed again in June, so most likely they'll come to the June board meeting.
Okay. And then the last thing we were working on was a procedure for setting future elected officials' wages. Elected officials would be the sheriff, the clerk, register of deeds, the clerk of courts. I think that's all of them. Coroner. Yeah. We have to visit that every year, so it's just a matter of making the process easier. And that's all I have.
And you're just putting in writing what actually we're doing.
Right.
So there's a consistent policy for guideline.
Correct.
Any questions or comments, Mr. Warco? Okay, hearing none. Next up, executive. We had an executive meeting last Thursday, the 14th. We heard the financial summary that was just presented by Mr. Tribner. Treasurer, registered deeds gave their monthly reports, just going over the transactions, and there was nothing that stood out as being other than typical transactional business. We approved the Town of Eisenstein Bridge and Culvert Aid that was brought to the board today. Talked about District 5, which we talked about today, and had brief carbon credit and bug tussle discussions, which I previously noted in my report today. Any questions or comments? Ms. Drobnik?
Brian, I think there's some misunderstanding about $15 million tied up with bug tussle, that's not actual our money.
Correct. I'll make a brief comment, and if Nikki, you got anything to add? There's a $15 million bond out there, and we're listed as a creditor if they default. I believe that's the right term. But we're like third or fourth in line. We're not the first ones that the bondholders go to if something happens. You want to elaborate a little bit more, Nick?
Yeah, so we have it wasn't like we wrote a check for 15 million. What it is more of we co-signed on a loan so that they could reduce their interest rate. And for that reduced interest rate, they give us that 40 basis points each year based on the remaining principal. So yeah, if there were to be a problem with payments so the first 2 years, there's no payments due on the bond, which all money is still there. They haven't even drawn any of it. Years 3 through 5 would be interest only payments. So that's like a reduced payment cost. So you're just paying the interest on that 15 million. And then every year after that for, I believe it's 20 years total. So what's that? 15 through 20. Then that's when they would make principal and interest payments. If there was a failure to make the payment, first it goes out of, there's a bond holding, some type of account that's where the payments would come from until if there was a default by bug tussle. And then from there it goes to, is it Hobin, Hobart,
I'd have to look, I don't
Holding?
recall.
It's not Hobin because that's up there. Hobart? Hilbert is the overarching parent company. They would then be the next in line, which they're the ones that own 400 towers across the state and have all these other products, AT&T stores and all kinds of stuff. They would be the next in line, and then if they defaulted, then it would come to us. If it came to us, then we would retain all assets that were in Price County. So we'd get all the towers, we'd get any fiber in the ground, anything like that as our collateral.
The only thing that affected as far as the county is our credit line. It got reduced, but we're allowed to borrow, I believe, over $100 million right now.
Yeah,
And so it took that down, but we're not looking to borrow any money, excessively. That would affect our operation.
What Brian's alluding to is that each year you get assigned a top borrowing level, which is 5% of your equalized value. So every time your equalized value goes up, you're allowed to have more in payments, not just borrowing. So we have the ability right now to have over $100 million in payments. We have about $3.5 million a year in payments for debt. But we have an allowable rate. So we use about 2% historically of our allowable borrowing payment. So if you really look at it, you could borrow $400 million and make a quarter of that payment every year, $100 million. Really, you could borrow $800 to get a 10-year bond. But we're nowhere near the limit. Where you see those limits affect people are municipalities. So a Phillips or a Park Falls or a small municipality where their equalized value is much lower. They do a lot of road project or borrow for a piece of equipment. They may be hitting closer to their borrowing capacity. Like I said, we have 3.5 million in payments, and we have an allowable capacity of over $100 million in payments. So we lose 15,000 of that allowable payment for this. And I don't even know if we lose the 15 or if it's just the payment amount. I'd have to look, but we're nowhere near that cap.
This does not cost the taxpayers anything as far as on their tax bill.
Nope.
The other thing is we have received money, those 40 basis points you talked about. We've already acquired some cash, right?
Yep. So the first year, I want to say it was about 30,000, because we only had a half a year or a little over a quarter. The second, we're about 90,000, I believe, collected for that 40 basis points, which is where we've used that right now. For one thing, we used a little bit of it to make sure we have our legal in place. So we use a tollless law if we have legal questions based on like the contracts, or like I'm working with them on if we were to get out of the bug tussle agreement. And then the other thing that we're recommending the use of is for through executive committee and law enforcement. We currently have an RFP out for emergency service radios, and kind of the path we're deciding what would be best for the county based on our current equipment and what the future needs are. So say that RFP comes back at $50,000 for someone to evaluate all of our equipment, put together a plan, decide whether we can use the 3 towers, if we need different towers, if bug tussle towers are available, what that looks like. So they'll help us with the level of product we need so that we get the right thing for 10 years, not the right thing for whatever the salesperson came and told us was right today. I'm recommending, and we'll be bringing it to executive, that we use that current revenues from the bug tussle to pay for that service. It's a product we've needed.
So my thinking on this, the intent was twofold, getting involved with bug tussle, not to get in the cell tower business, but to be able to use their towers for our EMS equipment upgrades. And then the second reason we got involved, they offered us this basis point cash. Does anybody else have anything you want to add? Okay, anything more for my executive report? Any questions, comments? If not, we'll move on to forestry and parks, buildings and grounds.
Yeah,
Erickson.
we had our meeting and grounds and buildings. They're working on painting in the courthouse, the hallways, working on signage, which I think is well needed out in the hallways. So it'll be nice. They were showing some examples. The other big thing is courthouse electrical panel. I believe the RFP has gone out or will be going out.
Yeah, the RFP will be going out for that project. And our goal is to be able to incorporate it in the next year's budget. So we wouldn't have to come to you guys outside of the budget process.
So that will be a big thing coming up in a few years here. Moving on to forestry, timber sales. There actually were 21 tracks out for bids and only one did not receive the bid. So that was good. We also had a party come in interested and would like to buy some county land that borders their property. It's a section out in the Kennon area along the Jump River. We had a representative from the DNR saying what some of the process would be. After some discussion, it was postponed till the next meeting. We feel we got to have a lot more information on this. So that'll be coming back up. That another item we had, one of our tracks that are being cut off needed a survey. We approved to have that survey done by our county surveyor. And then as far as the parks are getting ready for summer, grass cutting, cleanup. I believe the new Solberg Park is open this week is what the plan was. And then some bathrooms are going to be installed in Big Falls in July. And we're not sure if we're having a meeting in June or July will be our next meeting. Thank you.
They're on the calendar now, but you'll notify if they get canceled.
Yeah, if they get canceled. Any questions?
Brian,
Mr. Trimner.
do you want to bring up the Timms Hill cutting? I think we talked about it 2 meetings ago.
I wasn't there 2 meetings ago.
True. Just so people are aware, we're working on a timber sale out at Timms Hill. And again, I'm not a forester, but it had something to do with the emerald ash borer, and we're getting to the point where it's aged and it's time to work on cleaning that area up. So part of that, it's outside of our normal bid process, our normal sales, like what we went through the tracks. So we still go through bidding. People, they'll bid on it, but we set different expectations where it's when you're done, we're either going to hire somebody to come in and chip the slash, I think is the verbiage. I'm getting nods. So all the stuff, the treetops, the branches, everything like that, they come in and there'll be a company that'll, like anything near the park, because it's bigger than the park. It's across the street to that property. But they'll come in, they'll leave a buffer along the roads and everything, but then they'll come in and clean it up so that it grows back quicker and cleaner. It'll still be more visually appealing as through the process. So I can't remember what Joe said on the timeline for that was, but it is coming up. So people will see that. We are doing a timber sale out at Timms Hill.
Anything else for Mr. Erickson? Okay, we'll move on. Health and Human Services, Ms. Hodak.
Thank you and good morning. We met on May 13th. We went through the usual beginnings, and then we had Tiffany Polachek wasn't available for a report for public health that time, so that'll be next time we meet. Aging and disability, Chris maybe spoke about nutrition advisory council, the Council on Aging, and your senior services quarterly report. These all their reports are on file. I think under the senior services quarterly report, 70 people received 2,833 home delivered meals, and 132 people received 1,552 congregate dining meals. 4 volunteer drivers drove 10,120 miles. Our volunteer driver appreciation luncheons was held on April 21st at Marie's on Fayette. It was well received. We can't thank them enough for what they do to help get those meals out to people. The Strong Bodies class had steadily participation throughout the quarter. That's growing nicely. Mind Over Matter workshops exhibited steady participation at all sites throughout the county. Updates were presented at the senior nutrition site programming and on file. Some of the things they do with senior sites is they do survey each of the sites and ask for, you know, how do you like the services? What do you like about the foods? What you don't like about the foods? So it's really interesting to see what comes in. Everyone has their preferences and what they don't like, but it's just a good service for us to be able to try to keep everyone happy. And as we know, that's not always easy to do, but it does work, and we have good services throughout our county. I'm very proud of them. Kayla was not there for children and youth. Sarah did report real quickly on the juvenile offenders report. That is also on file. Behavioral health unit with Shauna Remarkowitz. An update on a new position for our social worker. We've talked about that and voted on that through here. The job descriptions are being finalized for the two new social worker positions for children's long-term support. Economic support, Beth Moore gave her a quarterly report. And then again, that's all on file. Fiscal Administrative Unit, Carrie Hammond talked about the high cost payment reports, and you saw those on Nick's report as well. Director Sarah Reese, discussion on holding a Health and Human Services Department orientation and refresher for board members. So that is open to any board member. You don't just have to be on the Health and Human Services Board. So Jeff and Jennifer, if you're interested, you should contact Sarah and see. It's really good because it might be just a personal one there, but you do meet with each of the department heads and they go over what their jobs entail and what goes on. So especially Jeff being new on the board. Oh, no, you're not, but you're still on this board. But it's just good to know because you're making those decisions. It's nice to know what all those acronyms mean. Good luck on testing on that. And it's just good to know what does happen with the Health and Human Services Board. Interviews for the open position in ADRC were held and decisions will be finalized this week. So that was last week. I did want to mention that Susie Acker, that was her last meeting. She was our at-large member on the board representing the hospitals and the clinics, and she was a nurse. So she has been with us, and her services for the board was since 2017. We wish her well in her retirement. She's going to be enjoying being a grandma to her 4 babies coming through. I think they're all born now. So our next meeting is June 10th. And that might change. We never know. Are there any questions?
Paula, do you know when they're going to be posting that job, if they're still finishing the descriptions for those 2 open positions?
No, I have no idea yet. I would assume soon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the answer I think I heard at the meeting.
Yeah,
They're
soon.
working on it and it's going to be soon, but
Right.
no definite.
It seemed rather pressing, and I'm kind of disappointed it's taken this long.
There's a process we got to go through that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So the job description's up and ready to go, and as soon as that happens, it gets online. So.
And a lot could have changed because this was May 13th. So we could be even farther along than this report shows. So no questions? Thank you very much. Oh,
Jeff.
Thank you.
Jeff.
Oh,
Yeah, Paula, thank you for that update. And yes, let's connect, and I'd love to do that meet and greet.
Yep, that's really good. They do a nice job filling you in on what's going on. You have a lot of questions. It's very good. So Jennifer, if you're interested in getting onto that as well, well, you'll have to let Sarah know, Sarah Risoha, with our health director. You're welcome. Thank you.
yeah, I agree. It's a very good program, and even current supervisors that are veterans might not hurt to take a refresher because it is very interesting. Okay, Highway and Transportation, Mr. Polachek.
May Highway report. Crew has been cleaning and inspecting all county and state bridges. The crew patched damaged areas on Highway 70 West. They turned shoulders on all highways, state and local. They have been repairing shoulders and chipping trees from storm damage. They also patched highways as weather allows. In the shop, a new 1-ton truck was delivered on May 7th. The shop has been converting county plow trucks for summer use. The April auction has ended with the sale of 1 single axle and 2 triaxle Sterlings, along with other miscellaneous items. The shop has filled the previously vacated LTE position to help with repairs and fabrication of equipment. He will be working 2 days, which equals 20 hours per week. Airport took delivery of a new loader. The guys have been receiving training on it as well. Market and Johnson was the high bidder, but low bid on the T hangar, and Hutari won the taxi lane bid. Construction is slated to take place on these projects in 2027. The status of dams are good. Jobs has some crack weld repairs that need to be done before the end of summer to fulfill DNR directives from 2025. Weimer's is due for a DNR ordered engineer's inspection this summer. The inspection will be performed by Becker Hoppy. We are monitoring concrete deterioration on Solberg Dam. Some minor patching of concrete, cracking, and spalling will be repaired this summer. Our next meeting, if we have one, will be June 3rd. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Polachek. Land use and UW extension. Mr. Kopish.
Yes, we did not have a meeting last month because of the changeover. And Mr. Barkstrom didn't leave me any notes, but I do have the minutes from our meeting in March. And basically on that agenda, there was one hearing. Can you hear me? Yeah, there was one hearing and had to do with a property where the owner was asking for a 2-foot side yard setback. And generally it's 5 feet to the nearest building. And he went into that meeting voting no, but then we find out the house he's got that he wants to replace is actually on the neighbor's property. So we allowed him the 2 feet and he could get his house off the neighbor's property and put it back on his own. So we did allow that. Coming up, we've got 4 public hearings on Thursday. We have a meeting and 3 of them have to do with gravel pits and asphalt plants. So I would assume we're going to have some interest from the property owners on that. So that could be kind of a lengthy meeting. And then we had scheduled some orientation because we have 2 new members on that committee. And we had scheduled some orientation for our land and water resource management plan, just so they get familiar with that. And also the memorandum of understanding with the UW extension. But because we're not going to have a full committee, we're going to probably postpone those items until next month. So basically the meeting is going to be those public hearings. So unless there's questions, that's all I have.
Okay. Hearing and seeing none. Lastly, law enforcement. Mr. Polachek.
We've had our public hearings at our last meeting on the habitual animal offender and premises and the definitions which were passed today. We have a new coroner. She was introduced at the meeting, Amy Casey. District attorney, we have a new district attorney, Alexis Nash. They're both dynamic young ladies and we hope they'll stay around for a long time. Clerk of Circuit Court, there are no new updates. The sheriff's report, Price County Humane Officer Dabler gave a presentation on the dangerous animal ordinance on file. And we'd like to thank her for her hard work on that ordinance. Equipment update, radio project. The committee discussed the bug tussle project and continuing the project with or without bug tussle. The original timeline for beginning the project was for 18 months and there has been no official start date yet after 2 years. Staffing update, Deputy Hohensi has returned from his leave in Eastern Europe and will return to work after his military leave is utilized. And we would like to thank him for his donating his time for the National Guard. An individual named Dawson is slated to begin work soon at the sheriff's office. New recruit Boggs is scheduled to complete his schooling in September as a part-time sheriff's deputy. K-9 units, the K-9 unit is performing well. K-9 Dixon is scheduled for recertification in Michigan towards the end of May. When a K-9 officer retires, their K-9 retires with them. Rec officers making preparations for the boating season. In the jail, we have 16 current inmates. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Polachek. That concludes our business for Committee of the Whole, unless somebody else has anything they want to add regarding committees. Hearing nothing. Date of our next meeting is June 16th, 2026, 9 a.m. in this very room. That concludes the agenda, and I will hereby adjourn this meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you.